Okay, today's video, well, you've already seen the thumbnail, so you kind of know what we're doing here. It all starts with one of these things and our group of string. So I have a bunch of these extra bobbins here which aren't showing up really great on my white background, but that's all we need. And to do this, we're also going to need a clip. Didn't have to be this one, just happened to be the first one that was within my reach. And what I have to do is I have to find the middle of my string. And okay, so by right I could probably have done this where I was just like using the full 8 meters, which is, let's see, that in American stuff, that's what, carry the 2, that's almost 8 yards. Yeah, so useless. 8 meters, yards, doesn't matter. We're gonna use half, right? Okay, so here we go. I could cut it and then it'd end up with a knot, but in order to get it inside of that little metal thing, I found out that I could just do this, and that way I can wrap these both around the bobbins. Now, little trick is, I'm trying to get to the end now. I'm working really hard to make sure I don't get this tangled up. Is I'm going to put the string through this little hole right here. Okay, and then I'm going to wind it onto the bobbin like this. And I just kind of go over top of that little tail and then just pull more string through the hole and just keep winding that on. Okay, so why am I doing all this? Because this is going to be super long, and I don't want it just kind of dragging on the floor and getting itself all tangled up. And this way, I'm going to guess most of you never tried this before. What this will do is, I don't even need these little, I don't know what you call those things, the things that anchor the string in, because it does that. Alright? And what that means is, as I'm doing the kumi, if I need to let any out, what I'll do is I'll come around the bottom and that will let out a chunk. And this keeps everything from getting all tangled up and whatever. Okay, so then I just have to do that to the other side. This is there we go. Okay, so again, put it through the little hole. And this is true for, like, if you're trying to use like super long strings to, maybe you just don't want to add strings when you're making a bag. This is a great way of doing it. Like I said, most of you probably never did this before. This is just one of those things you pick up after playing with string for as many years as I have, which I hate to even think about that anymore. It just makes me feel old. So, young at heart, right? Okay, so I'm winding this on, and get this. Now, I don't have to be exact. I don't use up all of the string. My shoelaces don't have to be so long. Can actually make this a little bit shorter. Okay. Maybe make this one a little bit shorter as well. Okay. And there. Now I have this is roughly in the middle. Okay. Now what I'll do is, this is going to start off here and there. So let me make sure you can see this. Right? So the first one is going here, and then I go into the next color. And what I've done is from the darkest red to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and then I'll go from the lighter gray this gray, and then this one. Okay, so I've got all the rest of the strings wound up, and the next one we do is this. This one here goes there and there. Okay, so that's the next darkest red. The next one will go here. Let's see, wait. That one goes other side, then here. Okay. So you can see that they're sort of coming across, slowly going in a fashion where that just overlaps, right? So the next one would be the next lightest. So that's the white here. That comes across. The next one is here to there. Wait, the other side of the 29. There, and then the last one goes right here. So you can see it's dark to light and then light back to the dark, and each one is kind of going over the next. So when we start and this one comes down and this one goes up, it basically will lock everything in. And what that will do here with the magic of movies, you can see you'll end up like this. Let's see if I can, the light won't let me, there we go. So it ends up like that. It's just a small point, and that helps to allow the shoelace. Now I just measured this and it was 1 meter and 67 cm, so that's pretty long. But watch what happens when we give it a pull. See, the whole thing can stretch. I saved this for this moment. I think this is so fun. Okay, so the whole thing gets longer by giving it a tug. It's just what happens with the kumis, right? So now let's see how long it is. Okay, make sure it's all nice and stretched out. And this is 1 meter, 2 meters, and a little bit, like 23 cm. So this is over 2 meters long, which is in yards, well, it's a little more than 2 yards. Whatever. It's longer than I need to be, and I'll be able to cut that off wherever I need to. And at this point, I could, because like again, I always tie that little knot at the end. I can just do this. I can lace up my shoes with it and just tie these off into a knot on either side to kind of make it even, cut them down as necessary. What I'm going to do though is I have this electrical tape, and I will wrap the tape around that, and then I have these cool little things. That sucked. So I've got these things in the mail. These are fun. So these little things are what I'm going to put on the end. I've got little set screws that go in, and you can see it's just this real black shiny metal. Now, to find out how much tape I want to put on there, I can use like this, like a needle or a toothpick or something, and see how far the space is inside and measure this, which obviously that's more than what my tape is, right? So that's one way. I also have this thing. This is calipers. This would work. You got the little thing in the end. It says that it's 21.5 millimeter. So lots of room. You could almost just stick this in as is, kind of want to cram that in there, and you end up with a really nice end to it. I'm going to use the tape just to help make sure that it's really tight and keep it secure. And there you have it. That's all there is to making some shoelaces with a Kumi disc. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit like and subscribe if you did. And until next time, don't get your strings in a bunch.